O'clock in Gardner, Kansas.
Yay!
That's on the record.
All meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I think we've
Yeah, he's coming. Jacob, you want to lead us up there in front of that?
Hey guys, how's it going? Did you do a parade over here?
Yes.
Oh, I did. Was it raining up there? A little bit. We want to do a quick picture first. And then we'll read the proclamation. You guys ready? Everybody smile. Look at that.
Alex,
Here you go.
Everybody look at Mike. Of course you did that.
Awesome. So you guys, you came all the way. Where'd you start at? What?
At the
Senior Center.
You walked all the way over here?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long. That's great. Was it cold out there? A little bit, yeah. We're so happy to have you here tonight. I hope you guys can stay up here. We're going to read this proclamation for Gardner Gold, okay? All right. So it says, whereas Gardner Gold Special Olympics was founded in 2003, making this year the 21st anniversary of the program in Gardner community. And whereas Gardner Gold Special Olympics program was established with the intent to give athletes with special needs the opportunity and excitement participating in team sports. And whereas Gardner Gold Special Olympics began with 4 athletes in 2003 and has grown to almost 60 athletes. Wow, that's a lot. Due in large part to the hard work, cooperation, diligence, and vision of Gardner Parks and Recreation, our founding members and volunteers. And whereas their commitment provides residents of Gardner with developmental disabilities a place to experience the joy and confidence associated with taking part in sports activities many may take for granted. And whereas the volunteers of Gardner Gold help our athletes develop a strong bond with the community of Gardner and with special populations across the Kansas City metropolitan area. And whereas Gardner Gold has been proud to be able to provide these opportunities at no cost to the families because of the community support and the involvement and experience in the Gardner community. So now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Todd Winters, Mayor of the City of Gardner, Kansas, do hereby proclaim November 4th, 2024 as Gardner Gold Special Olympics Day in the City of Gardner, Kansas, and urge all residents to offer continuing to support the Special Olympics program in our community. You want to say your name? Yeah.
My name's Jacob and Neil.
I'm Noah Van Lubany.
I'm Blake McSwines.
Yeah.
Isabella Coros.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah. Patrick. We know Patrick, yeah. How about over there? We got some over there?
I'm Palmer 8. Dylan Atwood.
I see you sitting there. All right, how about you? Right. Put you in front there. What's your name?
Braxton.
All right. Patrick? Awesome. All right, thank you so much for coming out today. And I'll leave this with, you want to take it over there? Okay, awesome. All right. All right. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for the Parks and Rec to do a lot with this. Big part of that. All right, so we've got another presentation, Animal Services update. Chief?
Where's the clicker? No. I swear I didn't take it. Okay, Terry.
We have 3 and only 1 is silver, but oh, it's right here.
Oh.
But you didn't take it.
Maybe I did take it.
Is it on?
It's on.
It's working.
Okay, sorry about that. So tonight I'm here to give a presentation on some changes that are coming and get some guidance on services. I have also have Captain Roberts and Tori Philpott, the Special Services Officer, in case there are questions that I don't have the answer to. So our current contract provides 10 kennels and 10 dog kennels and 14 cat kennels, and it includes shelter, bedding through the stray hold, which is a 4-day hold, and food and shelter. As you can see, I listed the pricing, which has continued to increase each year as prices go up, and in 2025, the renewal proposal that we received was $170,000 base fee plus a per animal fee, which was going to put us around $190,000 in expenses. That renewal was outside of the original contract, so we decided to go out for RFP, and when we did that, we got no bids, which leads us to tonight. These are the statistics for 2023 and 2024 year to date as of about 2 weeks ago. In 2023, we took in 263 animals, and in 2024, so far this year, we've taken in 167 animals. At the bottom, you can see the bite hold, which those are animals that we had to hold for 10 days.
Can you move the, sorry, we can't see the numbers.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so these are the numbers for 2023 and 2024. RTO means return to owner. So those are animals that we went out, picked up, and then ultimately returned them to the owner. In 2023, it was 26, and year to date, so far this year, it's been 8. And then at the bottom, you can see the bite hold, animals that were dead and we removed, and then animals that had to be euthanized. Animals that have to be euthanized are generally euthanized for an injury or because they are vicious and had to be put down. So in the state of Kansas, the animal disposition is governed by 2 state statutes, and then we have 2 city ordinances which kind of dictate how we should proceed as far as seizing animals or picking up strays. There is a 3-day stray hold, so anytime someone calls and we go out and pick up an animal, we have to hold it for 3 days, and that's 3 full business days by statute. We have to hold that for their owner for 3 days. There's a 10-day bite hold by city ordinance, which means anytime a dog bites someone, it has to be observed for rabies for 10 days. Now, there are different ways that can be handled. If it's a bite of a family member, it can be quarantined at home if there's a rabies vaccination. And then it's up to the Special Services Officer on other bites as to whether it's held at our facility or a facility that's chosen by the animal owner. And then there's a spay and neuter requirement for dogs that come in on the stray hold. They have to be spayed and neutered when they're adopted, or you have to give a waiver that it will be spayed and neutered when it's of age. And then the rabies vaccine requirement is covered by city code. And that says that all animals have to be licensed and have a rabies vaccine. So as we started looking for solutions, I reached out to ASPCA, Humane Society, Always and Forever, Positive Tails, and Prairie Paws to do some research and kind of get solutions on how we should move forward once we received no bids on the RFP. The solution that we have come up with for a short-term solution is to partner with Always and Forever Pet Rescue, which currently operates in Spring Hill and Osawatomie. They are a managed intake shelter, meaning they take in animals based on space. Typically, municipal organizations are, they do open intake, which means they take in any animal, whether there's space or not. And sometimes that does lead to euthanizing an animal for space or having to be creative on how to make space for animals. Always and Forever does have a foster program, which does allow them to move animals quickly once it's out of the stray hold, but for the 3-day stray hold, it has to be held in a facility. The cost for Always and Forever is $35 per day, and this includes a vaccine and spay or neuter following the stray hold. State law requires the 3-day stray hold. They do charge day 0 to compensate for the 3 full business days. So the average stay for an animal that is not collected by its owner is $140. If an animal is not claimed by its owner, Always and Forever will take ownership of the animal and move it into the rescue program, and our $35 a day will cover that fee. The other holds that may require longer term holds for more fees are the the required 10-day bite hold or any court-ordered holds that may be during a vicious dog or vicious cat trial. Those holds can be longer. There is a $300 minimum fee if the animal requires emergency care, which would be transport to an emergency vet in the metro somewhere. And that's a $300 minimum fee, and then they do have some rescue funds if it exceeds that. Based on the 2023 intake numbers, I figured a cost estimate. For dogs, our fees would, based on those numbers, would be $18,900, and for cats would be $14,280. And then we had 12 bite holds in 2023, which would have been, $4,200 for a total estimate of $37,380. Now, this does not include fees for any animals that have to be euthanized or disposal of dead animals. Those fees would be on top of the $37,000. That is quite a savings from what we paid this year and what we have been paying. But along with that, we are going to have to make some changes to our current operations. Some of the challenges are that Always and Forever shelter is located in Osawatomie, Kansas, which is about a 40-minute drive from Gardner. So this is taking our special services officer out of service to transport a dog to Osawatomie and then return, do whatever needs to be done there and then return. So that is taking them out of service for a period of time. Their intake is based on availability. They do say that the longest they've ever had anybody have to wait is 24 hours. So we will have a crate system in our garage bay, and we'll make sure that the animal is properly taken care of for the 24 hours if, under those circumstances, we have to house it. Like I said earlier, they do have a foster program, which does allow them to move dogs quickly, freeing up space. And on one of the days that I was working on this, I called and said, if I had a dog today, would you have space for it? And they had space that day. Some of the changes that I would like to propose and receive guidance on, and I have these summarized at the end as well. Currently, after hours, citizens who capture stray dogs can meet a law enforcement officer at the shelter because our special services officer does not work after business hours. Strays that are not captured, we do not pick up. and many Johnson County cities have limited their after-hour services. And I do have a list of those if you have questions about that. So our proposal would be effective January 1st, we would like to limit our after-hours intake. We would not take in any after-hours cats unless they are injured, and we would take in no after-hours dogs unless they're involved in a bite or dangerous situation or they are injured. Time and manpower permitting, officers could go out and attempt to locate an owner of a stray by checking for a microchip, or if they're city licensed, we can track an owner through the city license. Our solution to limit the dog intake during business hours, the SSO will respond to pick up captured stray dogs during business hours, and will respond and pick up any dog that is detained, and they will also attempt to catch any dogs that are running loose, but will also make several attempts to return the dog to the owner before taking it to the shelter. However, effective January 1st, 2025, if the Special Services Officer is not working during business hours, we would follow the after-hours guidelines in order to keep our officers in service and not have them on animal calls. We would only have them run emergency calls such as a bite or a vicious dog. On bite holds, animal owners would be encouraged to quarantine animals at their vet or at their home as allowable. Under the bite hold ordinance, they are still responsible for the fees, so we could recoup the fees even if we had to pay for them to be quarantined at Always and Forever, and Always and Forever will quarantine for a bite hold, but we would like to encourage them to do it through their own vet. For our solution for cats, so there is a lot of research on cats, and I've learned way more about cats than I ever thought I would doing this. But feral, or what people call community cats, are cats that live outside and don't necessarily have any owner, but someone may feed them, or they may take shelter underneath the building or somewhere like that. And the ASPCA does not recommend that you take those cats into shelters. They do not recommend that they go into adoption programs. They recommend that cats go into there's a few different community programs, trap, neuter, return, and manage, or return to field are those programs, but they do not recommend that you pick those up. Also, as you can see, 3.2 million cats enter the animal shelter system in a typical year. Not that many are recovered. I would like to propose that we no longer pick up cats. Many Johnson County cities do not pick up stray cats, and we could still send an officer out to check for a microchip, or if it's licensed, to attempt to return it to its owner, but we would not go out and pick up stray cats. Our SSO would be able to provide a list of resources that may assist with stray cats, and would also assist with trying to locate owners if we believed it was someone's cat. Our proposal would be to explore collaborating with neighboring resources and other resources to create a community approach to address stray and feral cats through the trap, neuter, release management, or RTF. I have also looked into some funding proposals. There are some grants available to help. Typically, when you do that, there's a $50 spay or neuter fee, depending on if you find what veterinarian you work with, or if you are able to get on K-State's list, they do sometimes provide those for free. And then we would like to strongly encourage animal owners to license and microchip their animals to ensure the ease of return if their animal escapes or is lost, so we don't have to house them in Osawatomie and then go back and get them to bring them back to their owner. We would like to incentivize this through licensing requirements and fees, which there is an ordinance proposal on new business tonight. We currently offer a vaccine and microchip drive-through clinic every year, and our currently exploring adding more of those. The organization that we typically partner with only does one per year per city, and so we can't do another one this year. We've already done one this year, but we do have one scheduled for March 29th of 2025. But I have also talked to Positive Tales about doing a microchip clinic. A microchip can be inserted into an animal with a vet tech instead of a vet. So we're trying to work on that, where we would provide either free or low cost microchips, and then have a vet tech put those in. Current licensing, our current city license program does also have a return to owner function in it, where officers are able to figure out who owns the animal if they're found after hours. So finally, I am requesting guidance from the city leadership on limiting our after hours intake for no after hours cat pickup unless injured, no after hours dog pickup unless involved in a bite or dangerous situation or it's injured. Additionally, on the SSO, attempting to capture a dog that appears to be stray or lost and attempting to return it. However, if the SSO is not working on a business day, we would follow the after hours guideline. And no longer picking up cats unless they appear injured or sick. And then on exploring partnerships with neighboring rescues for a TNRM program or an RTF program. And that is all I have. I'm open for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. I think this initially was going to be an issue and a problem when we lost the contract. But actually, I think this has been good because we've not only potentially saving money, but also we've addressed some other issues and really cleaned this up, I think, in a good way. So thank you for all the research on it.
Sure.
Council, any questions?
I have some.
Okay.
So you did say we could charge the owners for bite holds. How many of the bite holds that we did, which I still don't have the graphic in front of me anymore, but it wasn't a lot, were actually pet-owned dogs and not stray dogs? And do you think it would be difficult for us to charge the owner for the full 10-day hold if we have to do a bite hold?
Just going off memory, I think most of our bites are owned.
All of them have been owned, and they're required to either pay the full amount up front or make a payment arrangement with me in order to pick their animal up. So we always get that money back.
Perfect. And then if an owner picks up their dog, like let's say an owner finds it, but it had to maybe stay 1 or 2 days, is there a spay and neuter requirement before it's released back to the owner?
No, because it's not going through the adoption process.
Okay, perfect. And then, do the officers have microchip scanners in each of their vehicles?
We do not. We currently have one.
Okay.
And they try to make that available, but our plan is to get more. And I believe when we buy the microchips, if we're able to find a vet tech to partner with, we'll buy more scanners.
Yeah, because my only thought on that, the SSO is off work or it's after hours, and an officer is gonna, I've got some time, I can attempt to locate, bring the dog in, have to drive it over to the PD, scan it, it doesn't have a microchip, and then what? We just let it go?
Yes, right.
Like, that doesn't seem okay.
We would try to put at least in the supervisor car, if not in.
Okay.
And I think they range in price.
Okay.
So that is definitely on our list.
And then have we talked to any of the local vets that they can't maybe house the animals, but would they partner with the spaying and neutering or the emergent type care, like, oh, we found this dog, can you check it out before we take it to one of these?
I have reached out to a couple of the vets. I have not spoke to anyone yet.
Okay.
I've sent some emails. My hope is to partner with one of the local vets to do one of these microchip clinics. For emergent care after hours, we'll likely have to use one of the 24-hour clinics, but that is in our plans to try to partner with someone locally if at all possible.
Okay, those are my questions.
Thank you. Council President?
You mentioned officers taking the animals to Osawatomie, but also going to get the animals to return them to the owner. Is there any reason we don't send the owner down there?
No,
pick up their dog?
we could do that.
Okay, I feel like we should save the officer's second trip.
For sure, we could absolutely do that.
And then, obviously, there's an incentive to get your animals microchipped. If we could get more traction with actually having the microchipping more than once and having more wands, could we do something where we say if the animal is not microchipped, then it is considered a stray and immediately being sent to the adoption program? Or, in other words, owners have to basically have their animals microchipped or it's not theirs. They didn't prove any ownership of it up to that point.
I do not think so, because the state law is the stray hold. The state law governs the 3-day stray hold, so I don't think there's any way around that.
Okay.
And the stray hold, like the state law states that you have to go through every avenue to try to locate the owner before you can release them every day.
I just thought that would incentivize some microchipping and also alleviate some things for us if people aren't going to show up anyway.
Yes, for sure.
All right.
Any other questions?
Are we doing any other incentives for, maybe they don't want to do microchipping, but they at least want to get a tag for their pet? I mean, if we're taking a pet all the way to Osawatomie, are we not requiring that owner who's been identified not then at least tag their pet with the city?
When they pick their animal up, they have to get a city license.
Correct. If money's an issue, I typically give them like a 2-week period, but if they don't do it in that 2-week period, then there's consequences for having to do that.
And our city licensing comes with a tag that has a QR code that you can scan and have all your contact information in.
Yes.
Part of the struggle is getting people to fill out the online information.
Remind me, so I haven't had dogs in a while, but when I did, you had to get the license annually, even if you had a 3-year rabies vaccination. Do we still have to do that, or can you do a 3-year license?
We still do it annually, and then we just keep that same rabies information until it expires.
Would it behoove us to get a 3-year license?
We could absolutely look at it.
Simplify it? I mean, so they come in one time and one another.
Is it possible to do a 3-year license with the program that we have?
Yeah.
So one of the options that I presented for the new business is to leave licensing fees and policy in policy instead of in city ordinance, so that we could make a 3-year license without an ordinance change if that one was adopted.
I had that same thought I was going to talk about. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Do I need to do something, or can you do it?
So we'll move to public comments. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to make comments about city matters or items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing. If you wish to come forward, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. There's a 5-minute time clock on your left. Come forward, state your name and address for the record, and the podium is now open.
Come on, Jeff.
Seeing no one coming forward, we'll move to consent agenda. There's an item on the consent agenda council would like to remove. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Shoot, second, Deaton, we approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Consent agenda passes. No planning and zoning consent, no committee recommendations, no old business. Move to new business. Item number 1, consider awarding a construction contract for the Wynwood Park Relief Sewer Project WW8010. Mr. Meyer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We're here for the Wynwood Park Relief Sewer Project. We'd like you to consider awarding the contract to Site Right for $2,605,599.75. This project we bid out this fall, and we received bids on October 18th. And with the number of 7 bids received, all were very different in number, as you can see on the agenda item. Lampright Nearson and city staff did a thorough background review and received good remarks from all of their previous project holders, and we'd like to move forward with the contract that's in front of you. Our suggested motion is to accept the low bid for the Wynwood Park Sewer Relief Project number WW8010 as received on October 18th, 2024, and authorize the city administrator to execute the contract for the amount of $2,605,599.75 to Site Right Construction Company. Any questions?
Is there any questions from?
Yes, I have one.
One second, we'll do public comment or public questions. No. Open it up to council. Yes.
Just had a real quick question, Jeff. With the bid coming in at 2.6 million, the low bid, and the engineers' estimate of 4.6-ish, and some other bids that were significantly higher, is there anything that would be out of the ordinary, that bid being so low?
We did review their contract, and we had a meeting with them, and we discussed a couple line items that were significantly lower than other bidders. And all the bidders were given the geotechnical report as part of an addendum in the bidding process. So that was the big line item that was different, was rock excavation. They reviewed those reports, and they said that they've worked in Gardner on multiple other site development projects, public improvement projects, and they were comfortable with what the geotech report had in it, and that they've felt that they could get the bid by bidding it how they did. Now, another large item on there is boring underneath 167th Street versus open cut installation of the sewer line. And Public Works is pretty adamant about boring underneath our arterial roads, so that actually comes with a pretty large ticket price. And that was another item where, there were some bidders that were 200,000 difference on just that installation of pipe from, the north side to the south side of just 167th right away. So those are kind of the two big ticket items where people varied. But we went over that with them, and they were very responsive, and their answering of questions that we had, and everybody had good reviews on them. So we're moving forward with the bid that we have.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Do I hear a motion for new business item number 1?
So moved.
Second.
Motion McNair, second Shute. We accept the low bid for the Wynwood Park Sewer Relief Project number WW8010 as received on October 18th, 2024, and authorize the city administrator to execute a contract for the amount of $2,605,599.75 to Site Right Construction Company. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, abstained. New business item number 1 passes. Thank you. New business item number 2, consider the acceptance of permanent easement dedication documents for the Wynwood Park Relief Sewer Project WW8010.
Again, good evening, Mayor, Council. We're here for the same project, the Wynwood Park Relief Sewer Project, but this time for the acceptance of the easement dedication documents for the installation of this project through 2 private properties. There are permanent and temporary construction easements. Typically, we would have brought this to you guys a little bit earlier, but we are crossing a waters of the U.S., Army Corps jurisdictional creek, just behind the city property on the corner of 167th and Gardner Road. So this has been going on, trying to get that permit approved through them. And we finally received that the beginning of last week, so we hurried up and got this onto the council agenda so that we could get this project moving. As I said in the previous agenda item, Site Right is ready to roll. If this gets approved along with the contract that you just approved, we're looking at setting up a pre-construction meeting for Wednesday afternoon to get this project rolling. So our suggested motion is to recommend City Council to accept the temporary construction and permanent sanitary easement dedication documents for the Wynwood Park Relief Sewer Project WW 8010.
Thank you. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Council, do you have questions? Is there a motion for new business item number 2?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Shute, second McNair. We recommend City Council to accept the temporary construction and permanent sanitary easement dedication documents for the Wynwood Park Relief Sewer Project WW 8010. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? New business item number 2 passes. Business item number 3, consider awarding the Progressive Design Build Phase 2 construction services contract to the Lloyd Builders, Inc. for the Gardner Utilities Maintenance Building CIP project number WW 8002.
I will take this one again. Staff recommends the City Council authorize the City Administrator to execute the construction services contract Phase 2 of a Progressive Design Build contract with Lloyd Builders, Inc., not to exceed $4,739,345. This project's been going on for a while. We've had some setbacks and we've had some permitting items with the airport and all of FFA items that we've had to go through. We've got those approved. We've submitted building permit applications as well for the project. So now it's time to go in and do the final design of the interior of the building and then start constructing and start building the new utilities maintenance building. One thing since our last presentation, we did take comments from the council, and it was requested that we go back and make sure that the electric side was big enough to house any future size additional trucks and all of that kind of thing. So we did go back in there and we added 20 feet of length onto those garage stalls, and then we put back in the concrete loft area for additional storage of electrical components on that part of the building. So that is really what you're seeing there in the cost of change from the last time we presented to you guys.
Thank you. Any questions, public comment? Council, do you have any questions?
Mark doesn't have any questions.
Nope, sounds like he
Design
addressed
build
it.
is.
Yeah, we're good. All right, do I have a motion for new business item number 3?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Baldwin, second Shute. We authorize the city administrator to execute the Progressive Design Build Phase 2 construction services contract to the Lloyd Builders, Inc. for the Utilities Maintenance Building CIP project number WW 8002 in the amount of $4,739,345. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? New business item number 3 passes. Thank you, Jeff, for all your work tonight. Appreciate it. New business item 4, consider adopting an ordinance amending chapter 6.05 animals. Chief Wall.
Good evening again. So I have provided a draft of 3 different city ordinances to change license and vaccination required 6.05.050 and 6.05.080. The recommendation is that we change and add in that we strongly encourage pet owners to microchip their pets, and then move the license fee to policy and include the incentive to microchip. I did misspeak when I was doing my presentation. If we want to make available a 3-year license, we will have to change Section B, which says all license and permits shall be valid for a period of 1 year from January 1st to December 31st. We would have to amend that to read a 3-year license would be available, which I think we could make work and would be fine. I just had not thought that far ahead. I do think that if we move the license fees to policy and allow the city administrator to set that with your guidance, that it would be easier to change and add those incentives moving forward. I did provide 2 other options in case you all didn't want to do that. I added an option where we listed everything out, and then there's the 3rd option is to make microchipping mandatory for all pet owners, which I'm not sure if that's feasible. So the recommendation is to move the license and fees to policy and just put in a line in the ordinance that pet owners are strongly encouraged to microchip their pets. And then if you all would like to change Section B to allow for 3-year ordinances.
Thank you, Ben. Is there any public comment for new business item number 4? Council questions?
So before we look at 1 and 2 options, the 3rd one is the must be microchipped. What would be our recourse if they're not microchipped? Because I don't see anything where we're going to fine them or anything else. Are we going to then install a microchip and charge them for it, or what would it be if we forced that?
I don't have a good answer to that.
Honestly, I think if we required a microchip, while I totally get it and I think that it would be a great thing, I think all that would do is encourage people not to license their pets.
I agree.
I think
Yeah.
we would see our licensing go down because
I
they
agree.
didn't pay for a microchip. So I actually think that it would create a bigger problem for us than just incentivizing it.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay. So option 3's gone. Kind of figured that's what was going to happen. That's why I started. Okay. Thoughts on 1 and 2?
I really like the pricing difference for incentivizing the microchips, but I agree that it should be in policy so that if things need to change, it can change a little bit quicker. If we can need to be flexible with certain circumstances, then that gives a little bit more discretion. So I like your pricing and your ideas, but I do think that keeping it in policy would be the best.
Yeah, especially if we're going to look at a 3-year license instead of a 1-year license.
I agree.
The fee needs to change probably.
Give some administrative latitude on that.
So combine 1 and 2.
Yep.
I like it. Will we have a page on the website that then would have the, okay. I just, because right now somebody can look it up in code. If we take it out of the code, they don't know. Okay. Perfect.
Councilwoman Medear?
Is there, is there any way to license your pet online, filling out a form and paying a fee online and then getting that tag mailed to me?
We've been in the talks of that because we've had a lot of people come and say, why can't I just do this online? So we've talked about doing that. I think that we've talked about doing it through Central Square, but we never progressed through, we did a meeting on it, and then never got much feedback.
I'd really like to explore that because I know, the business hours and so much of our community works out of the city limits of Gardner. It makes it more difficult to license our pets, and if it's difficult and it's only $7, I'm not going to do it.
I think the hardest part is figuring out exactly how to upload the rabies and then have it be verified. But we can definitely work on that. Obviously, if we could do it online, it would be a lot easier.
I agree.
And we do know there are jurisdictions, most jurisdictions in this area that
Yeah.
So it's not impossible.
I don't think the vets would have.
Yeah, is there an electronic transfer, kind of like prescriptions, but for rabies vaccinations with vets?
Well,
If I understand right, like Olathe Animal Services, you have to upload a picture, and then it's verified by a person, and they mail out the license once it's verified.
I know, like when I buy my prescription glasses online, I scan and upload my prescription, and they verify it and then send me my glasses. And
Yes, it's very similar to that.
And every vet gives you a certificate with your rabies vaccine, so you take a picture of it and upload it.
To your point about trying to get people to actually do the licensing in the first place and then stick with it, I think, yes, it would be nice if it was online, because everything is, right? And then also, we could send out a reminder then automatically, in the system at the end of the year, and then just auto charge them, not optional. And they can say, oh, that one died, or no.
So you're saying more of an opt-out than?
Kind of like your property tax.
Got it. That's all, problem solved.
Say the words property tax. You had aimed that at me.
I'm
But it
talking
is a
about
way-
licensing your property.
It is a way to collect the owner's information, right? Because I've had to put in my address and my phone number and my email to pay online. So even if I maybe don't register my tag with the QR code, we've at least captured some of that
We keep that information anyways when they come in, we get
Yeah.
all that information, but yeah, I mean, as far as if it's found and I'm not there, there's somebody to look at the book and say, oh, this is
Yeah.
whose dog it is, if they didn't fill out the information online.
Yeah. No, I'd really like to explore that, and it sounds like you guys already are.
How many pets do we have licensed?
There's a few hundred, there's over 100 that have been licensed this year.
A lot less than there are in Gardner.
So there's
I'm
a
sorry,
lot
I
of
had,
opportunity.
I had to laugh because she said a few hundred, and from walking this town during campaigning, there are more dogs than people in this town.
I
Every
agree.
house you go to,
I
there's
agree.
at least 2 barks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay? So, yes, that just
Sounds like an
hundreds
opportunity.
bothers, yeah.
It is an opportunity, but it's also an opportunity for the pet owners to ensure that if they were to lose their pet, and that happens all the time here in this town, that they will have a reasonable certainty of getting their pet back. And that's more important than anything else.
And then on that note of lost pets, we have to really make sure that our new policies are going to be really put out there well.
Yep.
Some media blitzes, because I know we have citizens that pick up stray dogs and then just bring them to the PD, and
Very well
Yeah.
meaning.
and it's fantastic, and I love that we have a community that cares about pets so much, but then what do we do with them if we're not taking them all the way to Osawatomie?
Totally agree.
I don't want a catch and release program to start.
And we have already started putting things on social media, and we'll continue to do media. And hopefully we can get people to start partnering with rescues instead of trying to partner with animal services, because we are not really equipped to be a foster rescue.
But you're basically a pass-through is what you are, so it makes sense to take them to, an accredited animal facility.
This is slightly off topic from this, but one note, I think what you've come up with so far is great. Just once Olathe, if they actually build that new facility where the Sutherlands is, it might be good to check in with them and see if, just because it's a little closer and so on.
A lot closer.
Yes, I have been in contact with them. They know that we would like to take advantage or partner with them if possible, and I will continue to remind them, because
Great.
that would be ideal. However, they do not believe their facility is going to be big enough to accept other municipalities, but we are also exploring some other options as well.
I'm kind of off
I
the
started
trail.
that.
But no, this is slightly. It's still back on. The fee structure associated with a stray, is that in policy now, or is that in ordinance? So if I'm assuming that there's something that people have to pay if they go to pick up their pet.
Yes.
It's in policy, right?
I believe there's an actual ordinance that states that the impound fee is $25 a day.
Do we need to move that?
That's
Is
part
that part of that?
That's
Okay.
part of this.
We're regionally
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, then, do I have a motion for new business item number 4?
So moved.
Second.
Motion deed and second shoot, we adopt ordinance 2815, amending sections of chapter 6 of the Gardner Municipal Code related to animals with the suggested changes, correct?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're making changes to what we
Yes,
have to the proposed ordinance, right?
Yes.
So take the fee schedule details, we like that. It doesn't have to be those exact numbers, right, because we're putting it into policy, but move it into policy, but liked having the incentive for microchipping.
Yes.
So move into policy, and then if you can look into 3-year vaccinations.
See,
Or licensing for 3
For
year
your
licensing.
licensing.
For 3 years rabies.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it. So
Yeah.
the administrative part is already in the ordinance.
Okay.
You've gotten rid of the fee schedule, that's in there.
Great.
To go from annual renewal to 3-year, that is whatever, subsection B, which, you have to make some sausage from the dais here to fix that. That's your recommendation.
And really, the intent is to align with the rabies.
Yeah.
So unless they do it right when they get the rabies vaccine, then it's not going to align properly. So we may want to do it where we can do it based on the number of months left before the rabies expires.
Oh, so not even annually, it's tied to their date?
Yeah.
So, just so you see, the administrative setting it is right in the second sentence. So city administrators are authorized to set fees and yearly policies for dog and cat licenses, so that accomplishes the administrative needs. 6.05.20, the part that we're repealing in section 2 is the fee schedule that's in the system ordinance, and that's out. So if we're gonna make it, if we're gonna do something on a multi-year renewal, it would be subsection B.
Is there any way that we could, maybe instead of a 3-year term, maybe have a 3-year term after rabies vaccination is expired, but to make it coterminous with a, let's say somebody has a 1.5 years left on their rabies license when they come and license their pet. Is there any way to get those to where we can incent that to line up, if you will?
Here's something crazy. What if we just pulled out subsection B because you've got the city administrator authorized to set the fees and fee-related policies, and if you write something crazy, we'll come back to you.
And then they can figure out the policy on the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, rolling, not rolling, however you see fit administratively.
I like that.
I think you know the gist of it. So.
If you can't make
Make
sense
the
of
sausage.
It's subsection C, subsection B.
Yep.
So we leave the ordinance as is.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended, suggested, and hereafter dictated.
Therefore.
Whereas.
Now therefore I.
Case of fine.
$35 a day for each day.
Take care.
Case of
Alright, so do I need to repeat that? Oh, we good. We got the, got a motion, a second, okay. So now we can call roll.
Councilmember Deaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Ween.
Yes.
Councilmember Shue.
Yes.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Ordinance 2815 passes. Thank you. Okay, council updates. Council, start with you. You've been fairly quiet there tonight.
I guess Jeff did all the talking for me. I don't have anything really.
Thank you. Jason?
Quick thanks to the mayor and our Gardner Edgerton Blazerettes and the band and PD for a special night tonight for our Special Olympics team. I did want to recognize all of our volunteers and parents in that program, our donors as well. It's a self-funded program, so without all those people, that program doesn't exist. So it's thriving. It's got good participation. We're glad to have it in our community. So thanks to everybody for helping out.
Jason? Community development, Dave?
Nothing for me tonight.
Public Works?
Nothing tonight.
Chief?
I don't have anything further, thank you.
City Clerk?
I do not have anything.
Finance? You've also been quiet.
Nothing tonight.
He's like, we saved money. He's jumping up and down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
City Attorney?
Nothing for me.
Just quickly, we met with the State Department of Water Resources, and we're working through the dam issue. So we think we have a solution. Not that one. We think we have a solution to get a waiver for the drawdown. So we'll notify the council once we get that finalized.
Thank you. Councilman McNair.
Just a couple of things. One is, thanks to Jason in the Parks and Recs. I thought the community involvement of the Gardner Gold was outstanding. We have a great community here, and just really was good to see that response. Secondly, this next weekend is the Marine Corps 249th birthday. Right. And next year is 250. Veterans Day coming up Monday, 11th. That's it.
All right. Councilman Wade?
Nothing for me.
Councilman Shute?
I'm
sorry, we're skipping.
Oh, no.
So you changed.
They're better. They're better.
You don't get to.
I just want to know for the record that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are leading the Kansas City Chiefs 7-3 right now. Just laying it out. Oh no, I was absolutely paying attention to the meeting. But anyway, tomorrow is Election Day. I won't go and say what everybody else is saying. It's like the biggest election in the history of our country, because they say that every single time. But get out there and vote. Make your voice heard. If you haven't already voted, please. It doesn't matter how long it takes to get in through the line. I know the line's going to be long tomorrow. Go out there and make your voice heard, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum. It's our God-given right and our privilege of being in as a citizen of this country to participate in democracy, and that's what we need to do tomorrow. So please go out and vote. That's all I had.
Well said. Thank you.
Well said.
Council Vice President?
Yeah, I want to brag on Gardner Gold some more.
Mhm.
Thanks to Parks and Rec for all you guys do, and Adrienne and all of her help. Doesn't like being named, but Paula Athey does so much for this program.
Yes.
And
yes.
in this Gardner Gold, we always talk about Special Olympics, so you assume to participate you need to be an athlete. There are so many programs, holiday parties, bingo nights. Last night's bingo night had a para-Olympian, silver medalist there, taking pictures with the athletes. And we also had 2 bingo crashers from New Zealand.
What?
They came into town and crashed our bingo night, which was amazing, and they were great sports about it. Renting out movie theaters so these kids can have a good movie theater experience. It is all ages, all abilities, an amazing program put on by donors and grants only. So if you're looking for a place to volunteer or you're looking for a place to donate, Gardner Gold is the way to go. Also, Veterans Day on Monday. Thank you so much for your service to anybody that has served in our armed forces.
Thank you.
That's it.
Council President?
That was well said. I'll go with that. Can't top that. That was great.
We do have, speaking of Veterans Day, we do have our Veterans Day celebration partnering with the school on Monday. So hopefully everyone can be there for that. Just be a good event. Yeah, absolutely. And I did have one thing. Not our next meeting. December. Our meeting in December. Our first meeting in December is the 2nd. It's a Monday night. It's also the night of the Christmas
tree lighting.
Tree lighting, and so we were considering maybe doing it right after that event. I think it would probably be over before 8. I would assume our part would be over before 8. Maybe just going ahead and finishing our business, coming over here afterwards.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Okay.
For the purposes of the agenda, we have to have a specific time. So we just say 8 p.m.
Yeah. I would assume that'd be okay, Jason. You think?
Yes. The only caveat to that is if there's weather and lightning. There has been Christmas in the Park with lightning. So if we delay it, So I'm not sure what that would look like.
As far as say,
We
We'll be all right.
we could say 8,
and make it happen.
weather dependent, and people will not understand.
We've gotten through drones falling out of the sky and everything else, so we should be able to deal with the little weather.
You're tied up, we'll come over and start.
Yeah.
Still would like to see that
Yeah,
someday.
that's-
I think that'd be
We can get going.
So I say 8 PM start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 p.m. start, Monday, December 2nd. Okay, we do have executive session tonight. So do I hear a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Motion McNear, second Shoot. To recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship pursuant to KSA 754319B2, beginning at 8:01 p.m., returning to regular session at 8:11 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Executive session. 12, do I have a motion to resume regular
So
session?
moved.
Second.
So moved.
I think I heard Deaton, motion Deaton, second shoot. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, abstained. Back in regular session. Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion McNear, second shoot. We adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, abstained. We're adjourned. Go Bucks.